What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Critical Overload here. We're going to be talking about a few different horror topics in this video here today. We'll be talking about the Weapons prequel. We'll be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Scream 7, and The Mummy 4. So starting off here with the Weapons prequel, Amy Madigan had a very in-depth interview sitting down with a Hollywood Reporter. But she said this to them about possibly returning for the Gladys prequel to Weapons. Madigan tells me she'd be all in, but true to form, she's reluctant to get too excited. I'd love to live inside Zach's brain again, but we'll see if that happens. Like I've stated before, I'm not necessarily all that against seeing a Gladys prequel. It's just I'm very concerned about how you tackle said Gladys prequel, because it's going to dig into the character in ways that we haven't digged into her in Weapons, and thus the mystique is at risk. The mystique of the character is definitely going to be reshaped, and by the time I sit down and watch this prequel and Weapons, I will look at Gladys a little bit differently, and I am concerned that she won't be as captivating. How far back are we even going with this Gladys chapter? Are we going to have multiple people playing Gladys, and Amy Madigan will pick up at the very end to play the Gladys that we know shows up at Alex's house in Weapons? We don't even know how many stars are going to be cast to play Gladys. I just don't think it's really all that necessary to dig too deeply into every character like this, because you're jeopardizing the mystique and the aura that helped keep them as intriguing as they were upon being introduced to them. Not knowing a lot of things about Gladys is what ultimately made her such an icon in my eyes and a lot of your eyes. We're desperate to know more, but we don't need to know more. It's that desperation that's actually making the character better. And when you take away my desperation by providing answers that could be hit or miss, there goes the mystique. But I'm certain Amy Madigan will make the material work either way. She's going to give a phenomenal performance. It's just the character is going to take a bit of a decline. Now let's talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, New Sunnydale. Ryan Kara Armstrong addressed Sarah Michelle Gellar's guidance during Buffy the Vampire Slayer, New Sunnydale. She gave these comments to Collider. She said, "I can't talk too much about Buffy. She's just as lovely as she seems on camera. She's such a great person. She went through Buffy. One of the first things she said to me was, 'I will protect you. I'll help guide you. It still gets me. I love Sarah.'" Those are some very sweet comments, and I love that for Ryan, because if New Sunnydale is a success, no way do I see Sarah sticking around full time as a part of the ongoing story, nor should she. They should not lean on Buffy Summers as a crutch. They actually should abandon the Buffy the Vampire Slayer title once they reel in all these eyes to the show. Get rid of that and just call it like New Sunnydale or something. I just don't see it happening. But Ryan can have someone to go to for tips even when Sarah isn't involved with the series as Buffy full time. It's just clear as day to me that the show is using Buffy to draw in as many eyes as possible. They're hoping those of us who watch will stick around once we fall in love with the new characters, if they do a good job with them. And Sarah exits until the story calls for Buffy to return again. A lot of Ryan's interviews make her seem so humble as well when it comes to this opportunity. She doesn't come off like she felt this was owed to her in any capacity. So it's hard not to root for her and want to get behind her as a new Slayer. Variety has an article out as well, just dropped yesterday, going over the trend of reboots and revivals, and they mentioned that the series is expected to premiere in 2026. Now, the way it's worded doesn't necessarily make it a guarantee, but I figured it was something worth sharing. This isn't an official confirmation that the show will be coming next year, because we haven't even gotten the official announcement that Hulu has greenlit it. But with Hulu greenlighting Prison Break and all these other shows that have gotten a green light from Disney that were attached in the article, there's no way Buffy the Vampire Slayer New Sunnydale doesn't get one. Nothing wrong with debuting it before the 30th anniversary either, but I'm still going to anticipate a 2027 release in time to celebrate the 30th anniversary. Now let's talk about Scream 7. This new image of Ghostface from the 4K trailer sparked some discussion online. I initially believed this was at the auditorium. A lot of you DM'd me and I was like, yeah, that's at the auditorium, because that's what it just gave. But people were able to pick apart this photo and compare it to filming location images, and it actually looks like Ghostface could be standing outside of the bar, which is supposed to have a sequence that I've said should be a fan favorite in the movie. But who is Ghostface standing over in this moment? Assuming that's what's going on, we see a brief tease of a scuffle between the twins and Ghostface. Is this the moment where Ghostface takes out one of the twins? Perhaps, but I don't think offing either of these two is going to necessarily raise the stakes at this point. As much as I don't mind their characters, and I know many of you don't mind them, a lot of us like them. A lot of y'all want them 6 feet deep. You don't like them. And I imagine you wouldn't care if they got eliminated. So that's why I don't think getting rid of the twins does much to the story. A lot of you don't even like them. So why should they be killed off? Kill off somebody who's going to garner emotion from you. If it's not them in this moment, maybe it's Chloe that's being stood over. We do see her hiding under the bar very briefly in the trailer. But I just want to address this photo because it sparked a lot of debate on where Ghostface is actually at. Doesn't look like it's at the auditorium at the school. It looks like it's outside of the bar, which again is supposed to be having what I would consider a fan favorite sequence in the movie. Depending on how it's executed, there's a lot of moving parts to it, and I'm sure many people will come out of Scream 7 going, oh, the bar sequence was the best sequence in the film. That and the third act, because I've heard a lot of good things about the third act, and that's where I'm expecting Neve Campbell's performance to really get a lot of attention. Her third act performance, I've heard a lot of good things about that. Her and some other person, who of course would be Ghostface. Now, let's talk about The Mummy. So Universal Pictures is returning to one of the most beloved action-adventure franchises, with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz in discussions to return for a new Mummy movie, presumably reprising their roles from the studio's Mummy films of the 90s and 2000s, multiple sources tell Deadline. Reps for Universal Pictures declined to comment, and plot details for the new film are under wraps, but we also hear Radio Silence's Matt Bettinelli open and Tyler Gillette will direct. Now, some of you might be going, well, what happened to Lee Cronin's The Mummy? Yeah, so that's now titled The Resurrected, and let me just tell you that those reports online about how bad it's been received are in fact true. I never did a follow-up tweet when I was teasing I would possibly post a little scoop about it, because the reception I got from multiple sources was the movie is crap and it resembles Evil Dead Rise more than anything. No shade to that film, but I don't want to turn on Jaws and it feels like Scream or something, if that makes sense. The movie was dog walked so bad, I just ignored it, but it's been a while since I've even watched these three Mummy movies. I think the last time I watched any of these was probably around the time I was 9 or 10, which I think that was actually right around the time in which the last one came out, when I was 9 or 10 years old. But that was the last time I've seen those movies. I'm going to have to do a rewatch. If you're a Mummy fan, are you looking forward to this, or does Radio Silence's involvement turn you off for some reason? Let me know why or why not down in the comment section below. We actually have one final update in this video. We're going to talk about Orphan 3. So it looks like Orphan 3 has started shooting, and it's under either the working title or the official title is going to be titled Orphans, indicating there's multiple people dealing with what Esther is dealing with in this film. So we know, of course, she's a grown adult, not actually a child at all. And that's why I'm like, well, maybe there's going to be multiple people like Esther, or Esther has corrupted a lot of different children to join her cause for whatever this next adventure holds for her, because we know this is supposed to be a prequel and a sequel. That's what was announced by Bloody Disgusting in an article earlier this year. Now, some people are like, well, how do we know that this photo is real? Well, if this photo isn't real, this sure as hell is. Here's a LinkedIn post from the Dark Castle Entertainment president saying they've made it through day one. So Orphan 3 has started filming. Just wanted to share that with you guys really quick to end this video. Are you looking forward to Orphan 3, or do you think this is just another project that shouldn't be happening and Hollywood should stop doing sequels to projects that don't need sequels or prequels? But let me know what you guys think about all this down in the comment section below. If you haven't, of course, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. In the description, I will have links to all of my social media accounts. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can message me there, of course, to let me know if there are any movies, news, or reviews you'd like me to cover in the future. And with all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video.